Hi, this is Nihil at uSecure. In this video, I'll run through a quick overview of our core functionality for our security awareness training and simulated phishing platform. So the uSecure app, really simple to get up and running. It's cloud-based, so there's no installation needed. And to import your users, it's just a simple CSV, a first name, last name, email address, and the group you want to categorize them in, or you can sync up with Office 365. So I'll just pull across your user information and populate that as time goes on as well. Now, from a training perspective, all you need to do is go to Settings cog and head over to Auto Enroll. Now, once you enable that button there, you just need to select how often you want our modules to be automatically sent out to your staff. So each of our training courses take 10 to 15 minutes long to complete, and that includes a multiple choice quiz at the end as well. So we recommend rolling one training course each month. We find that drip feeding approach tends to keep engagement really high. So you're giving your staff 3 hours of training over the course of the year, but you're not bombarding them with too many modules, you're not sitting them down for too long. It creates that culture of security awareness really well. So once you click save, that is a training program done. Now, what happens as a first point of contact before any training courses are rolled out is we like to understand what each member of staff knows around security awareness. Once we map out their strengths and weaknesses, we then know which areas need the most attention. So that first point of contact comes with a gap analysis questionnaire. So they get 3 questions on each of these 12 areas, and it creates a profile for each user to identify their own strengths and weaknesses. What the platform then does is this feeds into auto enroll, and this guides that process there. So for myself there, in 4 weeks' time, after completing the gap analysis, I would receive the phishing module as my first course. 4 weeks after that, I'd receive secure passwords. 4 weeks later, home security. 4 weeks later, public Wi-Fi. It would then work through my B grades and then eventually through to my A's. So every member of staff is going to get trained up on these core facets of security awareness, but the order in which they receive it is dictated by their gap analysis results. So we try to move away from a one-size-fits-all training approach by prioritizing individual areas of weaknesses as a matter of priority. So then you're going to raise security awareness within the organization as efficiently as possible. So on the platform, we have a full library of 36 InfoSec modules. So we have 12 beginner, 12 intermediate, and 12 advanced as well. So if I just enroll myself here on the beginner phishing course, I can just show you what it looks like from an end user perspective. So this is what your staff will receive when they get enrolled on a course. So it's come from user awareness at userhometraining.com, and it's got the uSecure branding. So if we dip back into the platform, we can amend that nice and easily on the settings cog. So have your company name there and also your company logo. So it makes it nice and familiar there for your staff. All they need to do is just click take course. It takes them directly to the module. So there's no login details needed, no passwords to remember. They get learning outcomes at the start, just frames the module really nicely. And if I click through beginner phishing module, so what is email phishing? Little flipboards to make it nice and engaging. But as you can see, it's just good introductory information. There's no technical jargon. We're not bogging them down with too much information that isn't going to be relevant to their day job. We get a nice little annotated image here at the bottom as well, and they can just click on those blue buttons for different red flags you should be looking out for. So nice and engaging. So we've got the core blog style writing just to get information across as efficiently as possible, but also those flipboards, annotated images, and we also have videos embedded as well within the platform. So each of those videos are about 3-4 minutes long as well. So again, not too bogged down, but just varies up, makes it nice and engaging, whilst also getting the balance right and making sure we're getting the information across. That's so important to make sure they are operating securely. So we created all those modules in-house, so they all have a similar sort of theme. Before they go on to multiple choice quiz, they just need to tick off this little module checklist just to reinforce what they should have learned, and they can't go on until they tick off all areas. If they don't know some on the areas, they can just click on that arrow, and it takes them back to that part of the course as well. So if I just proceed to the multiple choice quiz, if they get the question right, it gives them the green thumbs up and reinforces why that was correct. If they get the question wrong, it will do the opposite. So give them the red thumbs down and reinforce what the correct answer was. So at the end of the module, they will get a score out of 100%. We can set a minimum pass score as well. So if they don't get 80% or 70, for example, they'll get taken back to the start of the course and then get a new set of questions. We also can send out automatic course reminder emails just to prompt those that have any outstanding courses. So use the auto enroll function there to actually get the training program kicked off and running in the background. And then you have automatic course reminder emails to regulate the engagement. And you can set a minimum pass score to help manage the actual standard people are getting. So from a training perspective, the platform does all the heavy lifting for you and just runs in the background. You can also create your own custom modules within the app. So if we just go on one of these ones that I've got in this example, so you can see here that you can add any of our various styles of content, so different slides of material, questions, videos, for example. So all that obviously is then hosted in the uSecure app and could be deployed and reported on all in the same space. So from a reporting perspective, we have the course participation grid. So you can break it down with individual course levels, so intermediate, advanced, gap analysis. If you break down the individual teams here, you can see the grades each person has got in each of those different areas. So a nice breakdown. You could download that as a spreadsheet as well if you need to manipulate that for your own reports. As well as the InfoSec side of things, we do also have a compliance suite. So it covers things like GDPR, for example, anti-bribery, anti-money laundering. So a range of 14, 15 different compliance modules to supplement the InfoSec quite nicely. So as well as the training, we do also have the ability to run phishing simulations via uFish. So there are two routes you can go down, either templated attack or the spearfish route. So for a templated fish, we have 16 different templates that you can use. So a really good range of different services that look familiar for you, things like Office 365, Google, various different banks, LinkedIn. So different services that will look quite familiar there for your staff. And each of these come with their own attached email. So a nice template there for you to use. What we can do is automate the send out of those templates as well. So via Autofish, you just need to select a couple of different criteria. So how often you want your staff to be fished, whether you want to exclude certain groups. So say if you want to do something a bit more bespoke for the finance team, and also if any of those templates aren't relevant for your organization. So if you don't use workplace messaging, for example, you don't want to include the movies one. So Autofish will then run in the background. In the next 12 weeks, everybody that isn't in the finance team will receive one template attack at a random time that isn't workplace messaging or movies. And it will just keep running through every 12 weeks until it runs out of templates sent to each individual user. So really, really simple to set up a template attack. However, as I mentioned, we do also have the spearfish route, which is where I think we find the most value comes from with setting up simulations. So what we can do here, start again, is use any of these landing pages. So if you use Office 365 example, instead of using the Microsoft account access template, we can create our own email here. So really nice and simple. All you need to do is set a couple of different categories. So if I name the simulation as Demo Center example, set the email subject. So we just go for something really, really simple. So simulation example. And here now you have the content box. So you just then need to select what the actual body of the email looks like. So if you go for hi first name, this is so on the platform we track 3 metrics. We track who opens the email, we track who clicks on the malicious link, and then we track, most importantly, who gives away their information as well. So if I just type out the email, many thanks. So on the email preview here, you'll see that it will give you a little simulation link missing prompt. So all you need to do is just bracket up the text that you want to be your call to action. And that will then become hyperlinked. And you can then set the email sender name and sender email address. So we have a range of different domains that we own, or you can spoof the email sender and domain. So if I use this one as not Bill Gates, that probably won't come through. So test example. And the email sender. So I go for your company at getusecure.com. Cool. All you then need to do is select the landing page it gets sent to. So groupmailserver.co.uk. If click continue through, you just then need to select who to target. So I've already got myself there preset previously, but you can add your different groups here as well, nice and easily. And then when you want the simulation to be sent out. So if we go for starting from tomorrow morning. You can then stagger the distribution of those emails as well. So just to make sure I don't land in everybody's inbox at the same time and flag up some suspicion. And then you just need to create a simulation there. Really nice and simple. What I can then do is just push this forward to myself, and again, show you what it looks like when it lands in your staff's inbox. Perfect. So the simulation has found itself through nicely. So you can see the display name is test example, and the actual email sender is your company at uSecure.com. So the spoofing has come through fine. It's got my first name variable there as well, so it's made it nice and specific to myself. And the click here has been hyperlinked as well. So that is our call to action to proceed throughout the simulation. So if I just click that button there, it will take me to groupmailserver.com.uk, sorry, and we've got a nice realistic looking landing page here as well. So just enter some dummy information, which we don't host any of this info at all. So just click that and then click next. We can amend this compromise message in the platform as well. But what we now have is a trace of how I've gone through the simulation, and that'll all be timestamped as well. So if I dip back into the platform and just refresh that page there, you can see here that for the demo center example, one recipient who's opened, visited, and compromised their information. So we can then pull this up in more detail. So you can now see on the details page what the simulation looked like. So the exact kind of makeup of the simulation, if you need to repeat it there, who it was sent to, and also the actual timestamps there. So after a minute, there was a open, visit, and compromise. You've got 100% for each of those metrics there as well, so open, visits, and compromises. And you can then break it down by the engaged users. So it's just myself there that compromised. There was nobody that just opened the email. So really, really nice and simple. What we can then do from there is actually enroll that user on a training course. So either you can create a custom course specifically for that fish, or just enroll them on our general phishing module there, just to reinforce exactly what they should be looking out for. So really, really simple. I say you've got the auto fish there to kind of send out the templates on a regular schedule, and then also the ability to create spear fishes, which are kind of boring and better replicate the real life attacks that tend to get a response from staff. So that's where the core functionality lies. We do also have two additional features though to round out the platform nicely. So we have uBreach, which is our active integration with Have I Been Pwned. So there are kind of major data breaches that seem to get leaked pretty often. So we just link with this website, Have I Been Pwned, and we summarize for you the total amount of information that is out there available on your staff. So we'll summarize a number of users caught up in breaches, the breaches they've been part of the most, and we'll also then show you the users that are caught up in the most breaches and their individual information that has been breached. So which breaches they were part of and what information was exposed on them as well. So obviously this is used against their work emails because that's what you're going to use your platform with. So we can then scan and see if they've been caught up and any of these passwords have been leaked as well. So people can often use the same password across different sites. If that's been leaked, obviously it can be a bit of a security threat. And also some organizations have a policy in place for third-party usage. So they say to their staff, you can't use your work email to sign up for things like Spotify. This is basically just an easy way to check whether they have been adhering to that policy. Leading on from that, we also have uPolicy, so our policy management service. So just start from scratch. You can see here that we have a range of different InfoSec policies you can use. So an email policy, for example, we've got some encryption, mobile device policies, or you can upload your own completely from scratch. If you use email policy example there, though, name it email policy demo example, just so I can find it nice and easy later. So you see here we've got our standard template that you can use, and you can amend this as you see fit to make it nice and bespoke. So use our skeleton, make it nice and familiar there for your actual organization. All I then need to do is just click create policy, and that will then populate that on our uPolicy homepage there. So if I then go and search for the policy demo example, you see that's not been sent out to anybody yet. What I can do though is just send this forward to myself, and that'll come through to me via email. So just so. Perfect. So this is what comes through when your staff been enrolled on a policy. So again, pretty similar to when they get enrolled in a course. They just need to click view policy, and it'll take them directly there to that policy as well. You can see that's been amended with company ABC. They just need to scroll down here So at the bottom, there should be a little tick box saying I have read, understood, and agreed to this policy. So if we click continue, that'll then tell them that they've signed. And if I hop back into the platform and just refresh that page there, similar to the phishing tool, it is then tracked that it's been sent out to one person who has then visited and signed that document as well. And that person is myself. So you have a nice clear audit trail there to show who the policy was sent to, who signed it, and whether they should be adhering to it as well. So a nice clean audit trail there for your records. One final feature as well that we have is our risk score. So this is in its relatively early stages. The idea is that we will use this to categorize your staff based on their interaction with the platform. So currently it's to do with their engagement with uLearn. However, the plan is to incorporate this to keep track of absolutely everything. So their engagement with modules, their engagement with simulations, the scores they've been getting on different training courses, just to give you a bit more context as to who your most at-risk users are with all the information that we pull across on the platform. But that essentially is an overview of the core functionality of uSecure. It's designed to be simple and automated, incredibly simple to use. It kind of just runs in the background once you get everything uploaded, and will regularly send your staff training modules and phishing simulations. If you'd like a more in-depth one-to-one demonstration or a trial of the platform or a quotation as well, feel free to get in touch. But yeah, hopefully that was useful. Thank you.